Hey, Amber, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I feel safe in that I'm not a predator, so you won't destroy me over the Zoom call. So that's awesome.
We'll
Hey,
see.
I talked to Wes Studi maybe a month or two ago. He feels like we're in a golden age of native cinema, and now with Prey and with Reservation Dogs and other projects. I wonder if you have any feelings about that.
I mean, I love that. I love that he said that. I think that's amazing. And my hopes are that I think the way that I feel about it is that I feel like it's just starting. I think that shows like Reservation Dogs and movies like Prey are kind of the beginning of what I see as an open door of many, many opportunities for indigenous artists, actors, storytellers, filmmakers, what have you, um, to be able to, have opportunities and be seen for truly what we're capable of. So I think that, the way that I feel and what I'm seeing happen and what I hope for is that there's just infinitely more to come.
What's your admiration level for the show Reservation Dogs?
What is the highest admiration level? Whatever that is, that's where it's at. I
Mm.
mean, I think that like Reservation Dogs is just in so many ways like a masterpiece of what it's doing, and like in representing Native people, in a way that like feels honest, and it's like funny and it's heartbreaking and it's like relatable, and it shows us in ways that it's like we don't ever get shown, and it's from people who are so like worthy of the trust to tell those stories and to do that, like Sterling and like Tasba and Bobby and Migazy and Dallas and all those people. It's like everyone is so, like I was there, I was with them, and it's like everyone is so kind, and all the cast, it's like everybody puts their full heart into this show.
Mm.
And I think that like it's just when you feel it, it's like 20 minutes or 25 minutes becomes like a transformative experience, as well as like it is never enough time. So I feel like, with a show like this, I'm so proud as a Native person that it exists. And, to have been in this episode, I'm proud in that sense that I could just like be a part of it. I feel really grateful.
You want to talk about the job your mother did in casting the show? I mean, it seems to be roundly praised, the cast that she's put together here.
Yeah, I think that they're amazing. I mean, she went with Sterling to Oklahoma, and they, had open calls for, I mean, I don't remember how long. This was like, a couple of years ago now, but it was just like they were out there every single day and like meeting people, and people who are in the show now. I know that like that's where they found Elva, and but also not just there. It was like everywhere, like DeFaro and Pauline are, from Canada, and
Mhm.
Devery's also from Canada. She's been in it for a while. And like, I feel like every character is truly like every actor, I can't imagine anybody else playing that character. I feel like they're so well suited, and what they bring is just so amazing. And like for me to get to see it and like see them at work was like I was like geeking out, because it's so cool, because like as much as I like know these people or know some of them, it's like I'm also just a huge fan of the show. So to see it, I think was amazing. And that's also like Sterling and everybody else who was, like the effort of making the choices. Like I think my mom did a great job finding them. I think that everybody else did a great job at, placing them and deciding and all the things.
So how does it come out that you get to be a guest star on the show? Have you been pestering your mother for a long time to be on the show, or it just now worked out this way?
It is, unfortunately, she does not allow that. That is not the rule. I do not get to do that. No, I mean, it was just the conventional way. I got a self-tape from her office through my manager, and I put myself on tape, and then I got a call back, and I did a call back with Tasba, and then I waited for a while, and then Sterling called me, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to come to Oklahoma?" And I was like, "Oh my God, yes, I do." It was just so much fun, like I truly would like bring these people coffee if they asked me to come to Tulsa and bring them coffee. So like, self-taping and then like going in and being, like getting to be asked to be on the show is like, that's no question.
Was it your first time to be in Oklahoma and to meet the natives from Oklahoma?
No, we actually had done, I mean, I grew up in New Mexico, so I've been to Oklahoma a few times, but we actually took a really, really early unfinished cut of Prey to Lawton to screen for the Comanches a few
Hmm.
months before this. Yeah, so I had been actually just a couple months, I feel like literally maybe like 1 month before I did Reservation Dogs. I was there and we had a screening, and that was like really that, I mean, that was a great experience.
Well, the timing of this is cool because your profile is very high because of Prey, and maybe now people will follow you from Prey to Reservation Dogs, knowing they'll get to see you in this as well.
That would
Maybe
be cool.
maybe the show benefits from you and Prey being on top of the world right now.
That is so many things that you just said. I don't know. I mean, I feel like Reservation Dogs is a great. I feel like the fan base for that is just insane and it's huge. And I'm sure that there's a lot of shared people, but I think that's also the cool thing about both of the projects is I think that they reach fans who are not just indigenous people or are not just people wanting to look for indigenous stories. Like I think Reservation Dogs is just an incredible show. It's an incredible comedy. That completely just stands on its own regardless of anything else. I think Predator is, it's a Predator movie. It has science fiction fans. It has, like action fans. So
Sure.
I think that that's like a part of the, breaking out of what indigenous people can do in the world of film and television is like obviously we don't just have to make stories that are centered only around our ethnicity. We can really do whatever we want and do it well.
Well, obviously, Prey was the most watched premiere ever on Hulu, and it has like a 93% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and so much critical acclaim with people, raving about how good it is. I wonder if you have a reaction to the reaction.
I mean, I feel really excited about it and grateful. I mean, I didn't think a whole lot, honestly, about what would come after the movie came out. I really only thought about my own people responding to it and how, because to me that was really everything. It was like, of course, I want everybody to like it, and of course, I wanted people to feel good about it. But really, when we were making it and when we were promoting it and like approaching the release, all I could think about was how my own people would respond, and if people, if Native people would be proud of it or be excited by it or like it or approve of it. And that's really what, like, that opinion has meant the most to me. Like I felt like we start there and then we can move on to other things, but that was really my highest concern. That was kind of what my focus was on. So when that response felt like there was approval, that was when I really was like, sigh of relief. And then everything else kind of flooded my world after that.
Sure. For people who see the most recent episode of Reservation Dogs, what would you want them to know about your character?
I mean, Miss Matriarch is an experience. And I think you just have to experience her. I think that that's the most, I think she's genuine in what she's doing. I think she really believes in all this stuff. But I think throughout the episode, everything you need to know about her, you see, from, her background, her motives, all of the things. And yeah, I think she's just something that you have to just observe and enjoy.
Hmm. I think we had 10 minutes and we got about maybe a minute left. So we'll wrap up with this. I'm going to go back to the screening in Lawton about that I didn't know about. There was a screening for the Comanche tribe, the Comanche people. What was the reaction of that to the film?
That was the first time that like a native audience who had nothing to do with the movie saw the movie. And it was so moving. It was such a moving experience because, obviously it's for indigenous people, but it's really about Comanche people. So taking it there was it was overwhelmingly positive, and that to me was just hugely relieving. And I think that was when I really realized like how emotional it would be, like in a good way. There was a girl, there were a few like kids in the audience, and there was one little kid in front of me, and she was like watching the movie, and I was watching her because they didn't know I was there. So I went there like in secret. So I was like in the back of the theater, and there was a girl in front of me, and I was sitting there. I was like watching everybody watch the movie. And she was like watching, and she'd like lean over and talk to her parents, and she'd like get scared and cover her eyes. And then at the end of the movie, they did a Q&A, and they kind of asked, like, because it was open to notes. The whole point of it was like, what do the Comanche people think about this movie? What can we change? What can we incorporate that the people, you know, feel? And at the very end, they were like, oh, by the way, the girl who plays Nana was here. So I stood up, and she turned around and she looked at me in her chair like this. And she was like, oh, looking at me. And I looked at her, and it was just like so. And then there were like so many experiences like that, where there was a kid who like said something in the Q&A that just like immediately made me cry. And there's a medicine shield in like the opening, and there's a little girl like somewhere to the side of us, and she goes, oh, Comanche. And it was like, I've like never told this story without crying. All these stories I can't ever tell without crying, but like just to like feel that in an audience where you're like, I also come from Plains people, so like to feel that was just like, that was when I really realized like, oh, how much that the experience of like taking the movie around to different communities would like feel, you know, would feel really special.
Okay. Amber, you did great. Thank you so much. And congratulations on Prey and Reservation Dogs. I look forward to seeing you in more things. Thank you.
Thank you.